I'm gonna get it for you.
Hello, is anybody out there? Oh, wait a minute. I was gonna get some new ice.
I'll get you.
Thank you. Am I on the right page? Okay. Can you hear me okay out there? Let me know. Write a comment so I know if my sound's working. Okay, hi.
We'll get you another one, but
What's this?
you said you had a headache.
Yeah, I got a headache. Okay, this looks a little dark. I think I'm gonna turn on the light. Shut this one down because the sun now is shining right in my window. Close those.
Okay. Too bright?
Yeah, sun's shining in the window. All righty. Yeah. There we go. So you might hear little voice noises during the presentation. We have my grandson Beckett is here, and with Tegan's boy. And so you might hear a few things here and then. We have nobody else to watch him because my other son, Jarrett, who's been doing this with me lately, he had back surgery today, and he's still at the hospital.
With with your wife. So we don't
with
have
my
a,
wife. So I got no
babysitter.
So we're doing this with a toddler.
Yes. So you might
could
hear
you go
him
over there?
come in and out.
Thank you.
And talk to us
Now
about
you can
Spider-Man.
go watch the movie in the other room.
Well,
We tried to entertain him with a movie, but it's not working. So welcome everybody. Hi from Taylorsville. That's Pat Payne.
All the bodyguard.
Yeah. Howdy from Nevada. Hello. How you doing? Okay. Healing energy being sent to Jared. Thank you very much.
We'll let him know that. I'm sure he will love it.
Yeah,
he was bummed that he was missing it tonight.
Yeah. He's doing okay. They did the surgery and they said it went well.
He's been up walking.
He's expected to go home tonight. He's expected to not have to stay overnight at the hospital, which is nice.
Yeah.
But
he's up and walking. He did 2 loops around the nurse's station.
There you
go. He's starting to move a little bit. We'll see.
Okay, wait, from New Zealand, huh?
Ooh.
Little voice noise is a good sign when we do genealogy. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, he's a handful. We'll just put it that.
Yeah.
He's a little jam.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first, I guess before we start, is there any new and exciting news? I haven't seen you for like a week, 2 weeks.
Nope.
No?
What news?
I don't know. Anything new and upcoming in FamilySearch?
No, we're working on our final stuff, changes to the interface and family tree that it'll speed up things. It looks like the last page is going to get converted as the person page. And I got a estimate today of how much data it will save, and it appears that it will reduce the size of the ancestor page by 66%.
Well, that's quite a difference.
So that will make the person page much faster when we get that out, and they're within a couple months of finishing that, so that's good. We're doing some prototyping of the shared family living. It's not quite to the point yet where we can
do beta testing.
Do beta testing or anything like that yet. We're also trying something new. We're trying to see if we can get Google to see some of our tree.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we're trying that. We're doing
Like
a little,
allow it to crawl.
So we're doing a little experiment right now to try to
Wow.
understand how Google and
works.
Bing and all them work, and we just barely started, today. It just barely started crawling today, so we'll see.
Well,
That might be
that'll
interesting. Be fun
to
if
see.
you did a search and you got
Google
a family
kickback from
a family search. Get a family search thing. Be cool. Hi from Wisconsin, Delta, Utah, down south. Murray.
New things. We are going to wake up and all our genealogy is done.
Yeah, right. That would be nice.
I'm sure a lot of people would love that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where can I get genealogy info from the Czech Republic?
Yeah, I don't know. What I recommend you doing, Katrina, is to call the Family History Library in Salt Lake City.
Mm-hmm.
Call and make an appointment to talk to a family history consultant. And they say you're particularly interested in the Czech Republic.
I'm sure they have somebody or know of somebody.
I don't know if we have any of those records right now. I'm not aware of any.
I don't know.
I don't think so. Let's see if there's anything in the real quick while we're kind of gathering our wits. Some of you might have noticed a new sign-in page, a new home page when you're not logged in. We're trying to help people understand. We have a lot of visitors that come, but they don't realize the value of Family Tree. They don't realize the value of all the records we have and things like that. So we're trying to do a little bit more training for people that come to the site, so that they could see, what kind of
the most effective way to use
it, or they see all the records we have.
That's cool.
Check
CZ. There you go.
Oh well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 collections of the Czech Republic.
Yep.
We have the 1800 to 1990 censuses, the birth and baptism registries, 1600s to the 1889s. We got land records from 1450 to 1889, and nobility records, and church books, and school registers, and Southern Bohemia church books from 1650 to 1900. So I would recommend going to FamilySearch.org and check that out.
Yeah.
So, and this one here has a main page right of the wiki. Probably talks about Czech records. Mm-hmm. So go over into the search, go to the browse all collections on the bottom, type in Czech into the corner, and you'll see the 10 collections we have. Maybe you'll find something in there that you can find to help you with your genealogy from there.
Hello from Clovis, California.
Yeah. Yeah, there's Gooding, 3 people who said the wiki. Yeah, it's the place to go. It's a good place to start. Yeah. Gooding, Idaho.
I don't even know where that is.
I don't know, but it's probably good.
Well, I mean, it has to be since it's named Gooding.
Yeah, right.
Idaho, right?
Vulture, guys.
That's Vulture.
It's Vulture off the Spider-Man.
Yeah. Okay, let's start with a question.
All right. First question of the night comes from Don Thomas. Wants to know, I first added my ancestors one by one to the FamilySearch family tree by typing in all the information. I don't know why I am saddled with having to be the merge, duplicate, and fix-it person because of a dysfunctional GEDCOM way of adding new data to your family tree. It's stated, let's see, we recognize that the process of GEDCOMs is clunky and time-consuming. However, we need to have a way for users to add their data into the family tree that is not already in family tree without having to retype it all. I am now spending my time fixing the family tree or merging duplicates so that others that are new to FamilySearch tree won't have to spend their time typing.
Yeah, Don, he's another one, like Tom. Oh. Yeah, so there's been a little, some somewhat heated discussions going on in the Get Satisfaction, not so heated, but a lot of lively discussion, I guess is what I should say, in the Get Satisfaction area where you do their feedback on GEDCOM and the issues with GEDCOM, and people are wanting to close the GEDCOM, and I've tried to let them know I don't think we can do that yet. We still have lots of people who come, and that's their only mechanism, and they don't want to sit and type it all in, and so we're doing some tests based on the feedback that we got in that Get Satisfaction, in those 2 or 3 Get Satisfaction posts. I've gotten a few JEDCOMs from some users that say they are seeing lots of duplication, and I've given that to the engineering team this morning or yesterday afternoon.
I was gonna say you didn't
And
work yesterday.
yeah, it was yesterday afternoon. And they're examining it to see if we've got a problem in there as far as finding people. You have to remember that we monitor everything that comes into Family Tree from partners like Ancestral Quest, Roots Magic, Legacy, Magic Key, all these partners. We monitor what they bring into the tree, and we do regular tests to analyze how much duplication they're bringing into the tree. Because our goal is to, keep the tree as low in duplication rate as possible, and we do that by having you merge and things like that. But we also monitor the streams coming in, meaning the JEDCOM imports from partners and so forth like that, and they're all running pretty much consistently. I mean, we get about the same percentage of duplication rates from all of them, and we continue to work with them to help them. They were doing really well, and then they kind of increased their duplication rates recently. So we've been talking with them and saying, well, what's happened here now that you have a higher duplication rate that you're bringing in? And my goal with JEDCOM is to eventually replace the upload of JEDCOM into Family Tree with using the hinting system. So we'll put the JEDCOM files inside our hinting system, and then we'll hint to people that, hey, here's somebody that may be a match, and it has parents that you don't have, or it has something like that. But remember, hinting is all a factor of how much data is on the person. So some people feel like, well, these two people should have been matched, but the only thing that's the same between the two is like the name and maybe a birth date. And that's really not a high enough match for us to show that to you in the possible duplicates area. Because as you know, we have people that are less experienced, and if we tell them that there's a match and these are duplicates, they'll merge them. They won't even bother looking. And so we have to be very careful that when we tell somebody there's a duplicate, that we're very confident that it is a duplicate, to reduce the problems of having to undo a merge if somebody did a poor merge. So the desire is to do the JEDCOM import a different way. But until we get that ingested into hinting, I just don't feel comfortable cutting off that avenue and making everybody sit and type it all in by hand. So right now I have the engineers looking at it to do an evaluation to see if we've got a bug here or there that's reducing our chances of finding duplicates, and I'm waiting for the results. They just got the file yesterday afternoon. So we'll wait. It'll take them a week or so to kind of analyze it and see, and then we'll hear if we have a bug or something.
Okay. I caught all those questions. Don't worry about it. That's what I was feverishly typing over here.
Okay. All right. All right.
Okay. Let's see. All right. Elaine wants to know, is it still best to spell out the month, or is a 3-letter acronym for the month acceptable? Yes, I did.
The 3-letter acronym is probably acceptable. That's what you want to type in.
So like April APR.
Yeah, you could do that. The standardization is really the most important part of it. And if you're typing it into Family Tree, you could type in APR. We'll turn around and in the standard area and make it April all spelled out. It's usually good to at least have the 3 characters because they're unique. Mm-hmm. Then there's no confusion on whether it's 9 means September or does it mean the 9th day of the month.
Oh, that makes sense.
And so it's always good not to use just numbers, but even then we'll translate it into something else depending on your language when you enter it in.
Okay.
So it's okay, but usually if you start typing in dates and you see it pop up, and just select the one that pops up and matches it, and then you're all happy.
Okay. Lisa would like to know, I love the consultant planner. The record hints are not accurate, however, in the planner. On the detail page, there's not a hint for a person because the record hints have already been attached to the person. One hint had been attached in 2014, but was showing as a hint in the planner. Everyone in the hint source had been attached to. So why is it that the record hint, why is it on the record hint in the planner?
Well, I don't think the record hint in the planner is any different from the record hints. What would be nice to know is if the planner was saying it as a hint, but the hints aren't saying that it's a hint.
Yeah, I don't know.
I got to check on that one. Do you need to send me a note on that one? Or here, I'll send it to myself since you're typing questions.
I'm just trying to catch them all so that.
Don't miss any.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can keep writing questions if you like, and we'll just add them to the list. Let me go into my email here, send myself an email about this one.
Okay. Sorry. Do you want me to send it to you?
Consultant planner, so you're saying?
I got it. I'll just, don't worry about it.
The consultant
I'm on it.
planner is offering hints that have already been attached. So one possible reason why that may be the case, as you know, is the same source has been filmed and microfilmed more than once. And we don't necessarily go through and we do a roll of microfilm and we create record sets and we send them off. Come here, over there.
Come play with Mom.
You're just right here by the microphone. I just
here.
wish you were over here.
Come play with Mom.
Yeah, there you go, bud. Thank you. Because you'll be noisy on the microphone. So something there may be two hints that you see as the same exact record, which it very well may be, but it's actually two different photographs or two different microfilm images of the same record. And you could choose not to attach them, or it still show up as a hint. That'd be the only reason I can think of that the record hints in the consultant planner would show up, and those records are already on the person.
Yeah.
A lot of times those are things like obituaries and let's see what I heard about obituaries, and there was a marriage record one that had a bunch of duplicates in it that you might notice. So, but I'll look into it. You sent me an email.
I did. Yep.
Let's see if there's a bug there.
Okay. Judith wants to know, is there any way that the Browse All Published Collections icon on the search records page can be enlarged, brightened, flashing? As we teach classes, we find out that 30 plus people, out of 30 plus people, only 3 or 4 even know where it is and have never clicked on the icon.
Well, the what feature?
Browse All Published Collections.
Yeah, I imagine, well, it is small. We went there. You're talking about under records, I'm assuming. The bottom right-hand side,
Search
browse
under
all.
the icon under the search records page.
Yeah, right here. Browse all published collections.
I guess they want that bold, brightened, flashing, enlarged.
No, because I think it's better for people to go type in their name they're interested in it and let us look through our 5.2 billion index names.
Fair enough.
And browse collections is, then you're just looking at collections. Some are indexes and some don't have indexes, and then you have to look at them like microfilm.
Yeah.
So I don't know that. Yeah, I have to think about that one. I don't know. Our goal eventually is to have everything indexed eventually. Then it doesn't do any good to browse anyway.
True.
Okay.
Sorry. Catching up. Okay. Maureen wants to know, when we put pictures under a person page memory, does it
say it again?
When we put a picture under a person's page memory, does it automatically go into the gallery? Also, if we make folders for the individuals, do they stay that way in the gallery too?
A folder. We don't have a folder. You mean album?
Maybe that's what they're saying.
If you have a new picture that you're on a person page in the tree, and you click to upload a new picture that you haven't uploaded previously, it'll be attached to that person and it will be in your gallery. Because your gallery is just a list of all the memories you've uploaded, or all the stories you've typed, or documents or whatever you've uploaded.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter where you upload, whether you upload that on a person or you go to the gallery and upload it, it'll always be in the gallery.
Okay.
And then the other one
Same
was
with
an
an
album.
album?
If you make an album and you put a picture in an album, it's going to stay in that album until you remove it from the album.
Will it also show up in the gallery section as well?
Well, you can't put it in the album. I guess you're in an album and you're uploading to an album, then yeah, it'll show up in the album. It'll show up in the gallery under that album. Remember, the gallery you can go all my pictures, or you can go into an album and look at just the pictures in the album. But yeah, it'll show up there.
Good job.
I think you go in there to memories and the overview,
Thank you.
and you go to your gallery, and yeah, it shows up in the gallery. Anything you put in your album, if you go directly to the album and say add to my album, it will also show up in the gallery, in the all of the gallery. Okay, under your My Memories.
Okay.
The only ones I think that don't show up in the gallery is if you put them in My Archive. If you put them in My Archive, then the only place you see those is going to My Archive. And that's just saying I don't want to see it in my gallery anymore. I don't want to get rid of it, but I don't want to see it in my gallery. So.
Okay. They would like an update on shared spaces.
Well, I did that. It's like a
Lauraline.
10-second one.
Okay, go.
I said that
You're testing
we are doing a prototype,
prototype.
and we're still working on the prototype.
When do you
And
have
we
an
don't
idea?
have an idea. We do not have an idea because this is new.
Well, do you have an idea when it would be in the beta
Nope.
space?
Nope.
No. Okay. I just wanted to ask.
Yeah. That's right.
All right.
No, we have to do testing. This is a big deal. This is a big change,
Yeah.
and we want to make sure that people
Affects a
will
lot of
accept it.
things.
So we're doing a little prototype, and then we're gonna test that with a selected set of people, and go around and test with a bunch of people, and see if that's something they'd be willing to do, because it's a big investment if we do it. So we want to make sure that it's worth doing. Mhm.
Okay, Paula wants to know. Oh, hold on.
Oh, when will multiple photos be allowed to be associated with a story? Did you get that?
No, but
That's just new by Robert. We're really close to that, actually. Right now, it's pretty close to being done. It's held up by another dependency, and so we hope to have that out. I think the date is sometime the early fall. So
Okay.
we're pretty close, a few months away.
they're at the hospital. Remember,
Gigi is with Uncle Jared. at the
Uncle Jarrett's
hospital.
hurt. Remember, we went and saw him.
Okay.
Paula would like to know: do we have a data quality team that is a part of FamilySearch?
Yes.
All right. Good to know.
We got
was like the.
We got like a whole bunch of data quality teams, so I'm not sure about the specific question.
It just says, do we have?
We don't have people to sit and research things for you, but we do have a data quality team.
Checks the input.
Everybody who owns a database in FamilySearch has a responsibility for their data quality of their databases.
True.
And we do audits and checks, and we have some that need to have some updates done to them. And then we have a data quality team that's in support that takes calls for people that say this is busted and it needs to be fixed, and they'll go look at it. And so anyway, if you need more details in what are you asking?
Okay. The next one's from Karen. If someone has added living individuals to the tree and marked them deceased, do I have to wait for them to fix it, or can I send an email to support and have them change to living?
Yeah, if you have somebody in there that's deceased, of course,
So she's saying,
they marked them as deceased.
but they're actually living.
I understand.
Okay.
They marked them as deceased. Of course, the first thing you do is contact that person and say, hey, they're alive. Go make them living, because they can do that. But if they don't, then you are certainly welcome to go click the Make Living button on that page, and it'll pop up area so you can put in a support case. You type in your reason and why you can say this person's living. It'll go off to support. They review that, and they'll mark them living. So
I'll help you in a minute, okay?
go around the other way.
All right. Bob would like to know, are we going to be able to edit memories added by other people, such as rotate, change them between photos and documents, and then edit titles?
We are currently under review of redesigning the whole memory stuff, and our proposal, we haven't made our final decisions, but our proposal is to make memories open editable, just like the tree. So you'll be able to edit the the dates and the places and the title and descriptions and things like that. But we haven't started that work. We're just finalizing the architecture and the plans, and then we'll review all that and make a final decision. I personally think that's the way to go, but we still have some hurdles to go through. But I think it'll work, and then it'll take us some time to do that. That's a big job.
Yeah.
The tree, it took us 2.5 years to do that.
Wow.
Memories isn't going to take that long.
A lot of coding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, his other question is combining of identical sources still on track to happen? I'm assuming he's talking about the drop down where you can
combine two sources.
Yeah, exactly the same.
It's still in our desired list.
Mm-hmm.
It's still on a team's roadmap to do that. We've had to divert that team a little bit to go do some other higher priority things, but it's still in the plans to do so.
Pat wants to know, how do we add a location to the standardized location list?
Okay, so we're actually working on a tool that allow communities, people, everybody else to submit and have that added.
Mm-hmm.
But until that's done, what you do is you go to FamilySearch.org/research/places. And when you go there, you'll see a UI. You type in the place you're interested in. It'll tell you whether we have it in the database or not. If it doesn't, then go find the feedback button on that URL. Let me just double check it. FamilySearch.org, research, places with an S. And I don't think they have the new version yet that lets you submit. So you search for a place, Tannertown, USA. And there's two of them.
Whoa.
And you say down at the bottom, so you look at it and it shows you the matches. And at the very bottom, there's a little button that says, can't find it, provide feedback. And you click provide feedback, and it'll send an email, and it'll send it and tell them the place you were searching for. So go do that, and then that's how you get it to that group, and then the group evaluates them, reviews them, and adds them to the database.
Okay. Liz would like to know, what is the copyright licensing for images that are only viewable at a family history center? Can they only be downloaded then uploaded into memories or uploaded onto other sites, specifically Ancestry.com? She's working on her Scottish parish line.
I think the best place to go there's some articles out there, I think, on Wiki.
Okay.
That talk about copyright. Let's see. FamilySearch copyright. That's not very good stuff right there. Let me go to, there's one other place I think I see it. In the Help Center, there's an article titled Copyright Questions and Answers for Patrons. And there's another one, there's like 2 or 3 articles. And it says, this is about you having copyright when you post things up. Mm-hmm. There's so that's where I'd start. There's also a blogger. I follow several of the bloggers, and one of them is James Tanner. He does the Genealogy Star, and if you go to his blog, just do a Google search on Genealogy Star, and he is a lawyer. He's a retired lawyer, and he did some copyright law. And so he's got several good articles on copyright. Let's see. Yeah, Genealogy Star. Just go do a Google search on Genealogy Star. Go to his blog. And I think you can do a search somewhere down in here somewhere. And he has several copyright articles on his place.
Might be tagged. He has all his tags on the side right there. They're going to go in order of. I'll find. I can.
Yeah, we'll go dig around and look over there.
Find it.
I thought he had a search button in there, but maybe he doesn't now.
I'm sure he does. It's really just hidden in there.
So anyway, that's so he has several good articles on copyright. So that's what I recommend doing. There's a whole bunch of cases and stuff, and I don't know it well enough to give you good advice. Okay, what's the next one?
Okay, Andrea.
How you doing? Okay.
I'm starting to get bored.
Yeah.
Andrea Voss says, if we unreserve an ordinance with a temple, can they go back onto the reserve for me instead of turning green?
No, because if you unreserve, that means you didn't want it reserved.
I guess she's saying, can we like steal it back from the temple and still have it be on our list?
Yeah, if you
How do you do that?
reserve an ordinance, if you reserve a reservation, you go to your grandfather and you reserve him. Those ordinance reservations on your reservation list, and then from there you share with the temple the ordinances you want to share with the temple. If you want to get those ordinances back from the temple, don't unreserve the reservation. Go into your shared list, find those reservations, and unshare from the temple. When you do, they come back to you. So don't be confused. If you've reserved it, they're yours until you unreserve it or the 2 years comes up. So if you share some of the temple and you want to get it back from the temple, just do unshare from the temple. Just go to the share tab under temple, find the ones you're talking about, and then click it and then say unshare, and it'll come back to you. And you got them. You don't have to worry about re-reserving them.
Okay. All right. Next one's from Linda. Wants to know, I want to share a family name for baptism and confirmation. Gosh, I can read. With a family member that doesn't live near a temple and can't go to the temple often. I don't want to share all the ordinances for the shared ancestor. How do I do that?
All right. So you're right. If you go in and you have a reservation and you want to share it with somebody, another friend or family member, you click to share and it'll share everything. And if they accept it, the reservation is no longer yours. It's now theirs. So if you want to share particular ordinances, first off, I want you to understand we're going to change that. It's not going to be for a while, probably sometime next year we'll get it done. We're going to change the way so you can share to another person just specific ordinances, just like you do sharing to the temple. And you'll be able to unshare them if you want to get them back. Okay? But we don't have that yet. So what you can do today, this is what I recommend doing if you want to share just baptism confirmation to somebody, is to print, go in there to the reservation and print a card for the baptism and confirmation only. Say only these two ordinances, baptism and confirmation. And then don't print the card on your printer. Say print, and then it'll create another tab and you'll have a PDF file on that tab. Save that file. Save it to your computer, and then email that PDF to your friend. And then tell them to print it on their computer. And now they have the B and the C, and they have a card.
And that's it.
It's got your name on the card, but that's okay. And then cut out the card, go do the thing. If they never get it done or they lose the card, they can either print the PDF again, or you can go print it yourself. So that's the way I would recommend doing it. That way you don't have to worry about trying to get it back, and you won't share the whole reservation. So that's until we get this other feature in there, I recommend that's how you do it.
Sorry. I'm sure other people would like to know how to do this, so I'm writing it down really fast.
That's okay.
An abbreviated version so I remember what to write. Okay. Vonda wants to know, I have a question about the list option under the family tree menu drop down. When I click on it, I see all the people that I am watching. Is that the only kind of list, or is there a way to create other lists?
And that's the only kind of list right now. But we're re-examining lists, and we're thinking about other kinds of lists.
Mm-hmm.
We probably won't. I don't know. I don't know if we do just add to a list, add to my list or add to my list kind of thing, because you can do that with a bookmark in your browser.
I wonder if you make it like.
But we're thinking
Amazon,
about. Well, we're thinking about lists, things like some of the things we're thinking about is list everybody in my private area as a list.
That's fair.
And so that way you'll see the living. Maybe there were some people that you put in some far line that is not a close connection because you went into the dead and then back down and you added them as a living person. So it sits in your space, but you don't remember where that ancestor was that you added them to.
Mm-hmm.
So we're thinking about a list of maybe everything in your private area. You could sort it and do things like that. Give me your other suggestions for lists. Send it through a post or send me an email, ron@FamilySearch.org, and tell me what other kinds of lists you'd be interested in. We're also thinking a list like list of everybody of where all your conclusions are, all the people that you've put conclusions on, or a list of I guess that's it.
I'll put a post up. You guys can comment and feedback and let us know what you
what would be interesting for other kinds of lists.
Yep. Okay, Armstrong.
Mm-hmm.
How can we handle a polygamous family on the tree?
Yeah, well, if you have a polygamous family, realize that sealing ordinances, if a person was sealed to somebody, they never really lived together or had any kids or anything like that, you probably don't, you don't add that. That's called a sealing only relationship. And that's not genealogically correct. It's genealogically sound. Don't worry about the ordinance, though. It doesn't get lost or anything like that. Well, I have a polygamist relative in my line, and all you do is just add a second wife. You just go add a second wife, and you add children to that second wife and that husband. So you just go in and say add spouse. So he has one spouse and has some kids. Right below that is a button that says add another spouse. You just add another spouse and put in their name. So
essentially it would be the same as like
it'd be the
maybe
same.
An older person that was widowed or a widower,
That's right.
and they got remarried.
That's right.
The second wife
That's
would be
right.
adding a spouse.
Or it's the same thing you would do if a person got married and their wife died and then they remarried. That it would be the same thing you do for both. The only difference between polygamy and not polygamy is they're married. Both wives are alive at the same time.
Right.
So that's how you
treat
do
them
it.
the same.
Yeah. So it's not any different than adding other wives because they got divorced or because the first wife died or something.
Okay.
So just go in and add another spouse, and there you go. I hope that answers your question. I know you're on because you asked that question on the thing. So let me know if that answers what you were asking.
Yep. I've been trying to catch up with you. Okay. Jerry wants to know, New Zealand temple has announced that it is going to close in July for 3 years.
Yeah.
When they share with the temple now, is there a certain temple that those ordinances are going to be assigned to, since they can't go to?
No. So what happens? We're changing all of this. Okay. We're going to change it eventually. Sometime next year we'll get it done. Where the oldest one in the shared list goes to the next ordinance anywhere in the world. So
it's like a giant pot that all the temples pull from.
That's right.
And the oldest goes
But we don't have that now.
Okay.
The way it works is, you're correct, it goes to your temple district. And then if another temple district needs ordinances and they don't have it in their temple district, then they'll take the oldest in the list, in the pot.
Okay.
So you can keep submitting your names to the temple, and they'll be consumed by other temple districts if they are not self-sustained. So it'll still be in there, won't get lost. And then when we change the rules to be first come, the first one in is the first one that gets taken care of.
Right.
Then you'll notice a change in how things get done, and all the ones submitted to the temple will start flowing more freely because they'll go to every temple on the planet. If people don't bring in cards. then
Do you
they'll just
have
get that one. Don't have it. I said sometime next year.
next year?
Yeah.
Is when those rules are changing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometime in 2019 is the plan.
Okay.
That's the plan.
I keep hearing about all these plans.
No, I got lots of plans.
You
man.
got oodles of
I got plans everywhere, and plans for plans, and more plans.
Coming out of your
I'm already working on plans for, a couple of years now, or 3.
30.
Yeah, I had to put out all the stuff we're going to do next year. I had to give a list last week before I went on.
When you went to Texas?
Before I went to Texas, I had to give them a list of all the stuff we're going to work on next year, and my list of things that we want to do but I can't get to next year. So I've already got like 4 years or so of stuff
A project
lined out. You bet.
Week.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Another one from Armstrong wants to know when a family tree, let's see, and there's no temple logo, which allows the names to be sent to the temple. Why is that? So a family member on a tree, they don't have a temple logo, which allows the names to be sent to.
I have to see the PID. You have to tell me the PID of that. If you're on, tell me the PID of that. Usually, the reason, if you believe ordinances aren't there, if you are a member of the church and you're not seeing temple icons on anything, it either means they're all done, and then you go to the person page. If you see ordinance tab, and then a list of things when they're done. If you don't see temple icons and you go to the person page and there is no ordinance tab, then as far as the system is concerned, you're not a member of the LDS Church. So you're not going to see them.
Or change your login.
So you need to make sure you put in your MRN into your account. If you haven't, go to settings and put in your membership record number. And then it usually takes right now it takes 24 hours, but we're fixing that, but it won't be fixed for a little while. So you wait for 24 hours and then log back in again, and then you should be able to see ordinances. But that's the only reason why you wouldn't see a temple icon there. Is either they're done, you're not a member in the system. I think the not available may be another reason. I can't remember if it shows icon or not. Does anybody out there remember if a not available shows an icon? If you see a person and you go to the ordinance tab, so you can see the ordinance tab, and it has not available on everything, that's one of several conditions. The most common is that person's sex has changed from one gender to another. So it was a male and then you changed it to female, or it was a female and you changed it to male. And it had ordinances of the other sex on the person. So it was a male, had ordinance done as a male, and then you or somebody else changes it to female. Right away we mark it as not available. You can't reserve it or anything, because you need to submit a support case, because we need to review those, and if it's truly a female, then we need to deal with those male ordinances because they're no longer valid, right? Yeah. So you have to take care of that. They do it fairly quickly, and then the green temple will show up for you to reserve. Okay. Or it could have happened as a merge. So if you had your person as a male, and then there was a female that had the same name, and they changed the female to a male and then merged it together, you'll get the same not available. So that's because the person it was merged with had a change and had ordinances on it.
Makes sense. Rebecca would like to know, do you think someday in the future DNA matching will be incorporated into the tree?
Yeah, we need to talk a little bit about DNA, I think.
Because you just got sent like 15 different DNA thingies. I'm surprised you still have spit.
Yeah, I'll tell you. They wanted me to try DNA kits, and my gosh, so they gave me several.
You got like 23.
No, I got 23andMe and find my
Ancestry,
living DNA.
Living DNA. They sent him like a whole bunch of these little boxes for him to test them out, because people are interested in putting DNA into the tree.
Yeah.
What is that looking like? I know that it's like very early stages, since you're just starting to kind of look at it. But.
Yeah. We looked at DNA years ago, and we were told to not work on it. But then recently, now we've been going back and re-examining that and deciding. We haven't decided what we're going to do with DNA, and it has a whole lot of legal ramifications, and there's some significant confidentialities. I'm not worried about that, because we've been really good about protecting people's identity and their confidences for the last 10 years.
Well, I was gonna
so
say,
10, 11 years.
Most of the people that are going to be entering DNA information will most likely be living, so those
Right.
would be protected in their circles, right?
But I want to talk a little bit about the kind of DNA tests that are being done for like by Ancestry or 23andMe or all these others. They are based often on distant patterns and the tree in which they can get relationships out of. So it's just a probability that you're a third cousin with this other person, right? You can with DNA, if they do the right testing, mitochondria is the X or the Y chromosomes, which only one DNA ones that I'm aware of does that test.
Who does that?
I think Family Tree DNA, I think, does that. All the others don't do those tests, and so those tests will tell you who your parents are, and it will help you figure out who your grandparents and so like that. So you can find two people that have a similar match, and they both have those tests. You could say these two people are,
Related or
cousins, first cousins or second cousins. But other than that, the rest of it is just probability. It's just saying, well, you're related to this person over here, and this person has this line, and it looks like you're about 3 generations different, so you're probably a third cousin of this person. Well, we've had instances in the tree where people are going in and deleting relationships and cutting whole lines up because of some DNA test they have. Well, that's not adequate proof to do that, at least not right now with the current state of DNA tests for genealogical purposes. So I want you to, we're okay if you put DNA source in the tree and reference someplace where that source is, where that DNA is, but I would not make significant changes to the tree or relationships based on that without corroborating evidence from actual records.
Additional to the DNA.
Right, like a birth certificate that happens to state this guy, or evidence that he was married to this person and they had and there was a child born during that period of time, and then they got divorced, and then the father's name is not on the certificate. Even then you have to be careful. So
I mean, I guess I could see it being very helpful for people who are adopted and don't know their adoptive parents.
Yeah, but they're just trying to find their ma or pa.
Right.
And so I just want us to be careful. DNA, the kind of tests that are being done are not the kind of tests that are done on CSI, on the movie, on TV.
Yep.
And our medical DNA, when they go send in for medical DNA from your doctor, is a very different thing than what they're doing in the genealogy area. That's because they're trying to make the costs cheap enough so that everybody will participate. And when you get and you have to get a lot of DNA kits to be able to discover cousins, like millions of DNAs, so that they can use all that data. Now, that being said, I think DNA will continue to be a thing. I think the tests will continue to get cheaper and cheaper.
I would agree.
There was internally they asked me what I thought about DNA, and I said I think someday we will all have all of our entire genome. I think will be done.
Genome mapping.
I think the whole entire genome will be done because it'll get so cheap. It wouldn't surprise me if the government gets involved in that.
As a requirement or something.
Yeah, when when the baby's born, they do the APGAR test where they cut the thing and
they cut their heel and test their blood.
And test their blood. I think that they'll cut the baby. They'll take some blood from the baby and they'll do a complete genome and map it to his birth certificate in government databases, and we'll have the entire genome of that child. Well, when you have an entire genome of a person, then you can get really good about who's the father and who's the grandfather.
Right.
And who's the great grandfather. You can go back a few generations.
Yeah.
Not tons back, but you can go back a few generations. And then if you have a bunch of siblings that are from the same father or same brother, you can then do some probabilities to say, okay, if somebody comes in and has this kind of genome, then they're probably
member of this.
third cousin, that you have a
family.
common great-great-grandparent or something.
Okay.
So I think we need to be wise in our use of DNA, and
Until it advances.
until it advances to something like the whole genome or something. It'll get there, but I'm sure it'll be in our lifetimes.
I'm sure it will be.
So, and it'll be cheap, and then we'll do some cool stuff. But we're thinking about it. Yeah, we have no plans or anything like that, but we're talking.
It's on the radar.
We're talking about it.
It's a blip.
Yeah. So
All right.
we don't know what we're doing yet. So
Michael would
don't
like
go tell
to
anybody
know-
we're doing DNA or anything.
Michael would like to know, are African immigration records prioritized for digitation? Apparently he has an article in Get Satisfaction that he posted.
Oh, did anybody answer your article?
He said he got no answer. So
send me a URL.
I can pull it.
I think
No,
I keep all of the
right there.
I keep all of the
That one.
oh, Michael McCormick. Michael. He's visited with me several times.
Oh, slave records from the Port of Africa.
I don't know. I will go. I mean, we'll go.
Here, I'll send you an email.
Send me that URL. It's right here.
Go.
Okay.
Answer your question. Go. Don't scroll. Stay right there.
Oh.
Go.
So they're prioritizing the records. We are doing some Africa records right now. I don't know if they're actual records. We're actually starting up some DNA projects with Africa to try to so that we can do some DNA on the chiefs of these African tribes, and then use that as a way to help people understand the probability of the tribe that they come from in Africa, and that will help them know where to research for their genealogy. So I'll have to ask the guy that is in charge of all that, sits right next to me. So I was hoping he'd answered that question on Get Satisfaction. Well, I'll point it his way and say, maybe you ought to say something.
Maybe
there.
you should start looking at these Get Satisfaction.
Yeah, I don't think he does that. He figures he's got guys to do that. Hi.
Hi, baby. All right. We can probably fit these last two questions in
Okay.
tonight. So the next one comes from Maureen. She wants to know, is there some way to identify the generations? So we are trying to verify clean and orderly work on all 4 and 5 generations back. It would be easier to keep track of where I am, if that makes sense. Like, I guess she's asking for, is there a way to mark generation breaks? Don't look at me like that. Not kill the messenger.
Print out a family group record, or print out a tree.
No,
You can do a tree print, and it'll
And mark it where your lines are.
I don't know.
Do you want me to send that to you?
I don't know where we'd put it.
I'll send it to him, Maureen. Which means it'll go.
So
on
I don't
to
know
the-
where you're wanting this, Maureen. You're talking about in like the landscape view, or are you talking about the descendancy view, or the fan chart? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, or are you talking about you're way back 10 generations or 15 generations, and you want to say, "Oh, I'm 15 generations back."
Right.
So I don't
If
know.
you're on with us still, clarify for us. We're going to move to the next question, but we'll come back.
Maybe in our relationship calculator we could identify the
Breaks,
generations there, so you can say, how am I related to this piece of person? You can see
How
you
many
went 10
genealogies?
generations back and 4 down or something. Maybe
Okay. Oh, she says the pedigree chart working back.
working back.
She says first I make sure the couples are correct, and then I go back and do children, and then so on and so forth. So in the pedigree view. Hi, babes.
Yeah, but then if you're doing children of a person, then you're back to a different generation. And that's not generation from you, because you're doing the descendancy from someplace else.
What's a high five?
Oh, give me a 5. Oh, right there. All right.
Okay.
I gotta think about that one.
Marilyn wants to know, under the present temple share system, if I move to a different temple district and I share a name with the temple, Does it go to my new temple district, or does it stay with her previous? I guess she's asking.
It moves with you.
Does the system know that I have moved?
Yes, if you moved your membership record, it knows you moved. So your reservations are tied to you, and you're tied to the membership record. And when it comes time to when you share your stuff, or when it looks up to get ordinances for the temple district, it looks and says, "Are you part of this temple district based on your current membership record ward?" And if you are, then they grab it from you.
All right. That's all of our questions for tonight.
Oh, terrific.
Woo!
Go. I didn't have to do the whiteboard today.
Whew. Do we have any events coming up in June? Are you speaking at anything? Or is the next one in August?
July. I'm teaching at BYU Family History Conference.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Although when I went and looked, I didn't have it in my list.
I know you're teaching at Education Week.
Yeah, I'm teaching at Education Week, and I think that's in August.
That's always the week before school starts over here. I want to see, you said that you had another one.
I have one in Midville. I have BYU Family History Conference in August the 3rd-ish. And I have Education Week on August the 21st that week. Then I'm doing Midville Union Fort. I'm presenting to their Family History Center staff. This is for
trainers.
Yeah,
and then Roots Tech for next year.
Yeah, well, I'm just assuming they haven't told me I'm talking there yet. I asked them. I said, "You want me to submit papers?" And they said, "Well, we might have you talk." So we'll see. They said they weren't ready to decide to know whether how I'm going to be involved or not.
So I will go out and find those links. So if you guys are interested in purchasing tickets, that you can get on it.
To BYU Family History Conference.
I can tell you, BYU Education Week, you probably will want to jump on them as soon as possible. That thing always fills up. Provo becomes like a madhouse for a week.
Oh, we haven't picked our June ones.
We have not picked our June ones. I'm going to make him pick right after we get done, and I will put them as an event in the group. Anything else exciting? You want to tell them?
Still got my headache.
I still have your headache.
Nope.
Hopefully Jarrett's back at it with us the next live. He should be.
Yeah, we'll see if he can sit.
He's supposed to sit in a chair or lay flat.
Yeah, mostly lay flat.
So he can't sit in a recliner. I already asked.
Can he sit on the couch?
He has to lay flat on the couch. Or he can sit in the couch for 10 minutes or less. At least for the first few weeks while he's healing. So hopefully we'll have him back by then.
Yeah, so he had, just for curiosity's sake, and you don't have to listen to this junk if you don't want to, but he got a herniated disc, and he's had the herniated disc since he was on his mission. He got it while he was on his mission, and he's been home for a couple of years, and he's somehow, we don't know how, it's gotten worse. So I don't know if he's done something.
He developed spinal stenosis, so his
it's
started to tighten.
It's blown.
It pushed further out, but his spinal space, I guess, is tightened, and then it started to push further to the point where he was having
pinching off the nerves, and
extreme pain in his legs, and couldn't sit, couldn't lay, couldn't really lift without.
Yeah. So what they did is they cut him, put a little cut on him.
No, it's pretty small.
Pretty small, and then they stuffed a tube into his back, and the tube was long enough to go through all of the skin and the muscles and everything down to the vertebrae. And then they kind of scoot aside
They shave essentially.
Well, no, they scoot aside the nerves, the spinal column,
the spinal column,
your spinal cord. They scoot that aside and push the tube further in, so it kind of holds it aside. Then they put an instrument in there and scrape away the bulge part of the disc. And they felt like they got most of it on one side, but they wanted to make sure the other side was clean. So then they cut another hole on the other side of the spine and shove the tube down there and cleaned up a little bit on that side.
Yeah.
And so that's what they did, and it's amazing what they could do with technology nowadays.
Fairly
I mean,
minor cuts.
when my wife got back surgery, I mean, she ended up with a foot, and
It was like
2
18
foot,
inches.
2 foot long stitch, 2 foot long hole in her back. So anyway, he's doing okay. We're looking good. We'll see how he's doing later.
He's supposed to make it home in the next about hour,
Yeah, we'll see.
if they'll let him come home.
Otherwise, he just stays overnight.
Just at night, and then he'll come home tomorrow. So.
All right. Hey, thank you very much for joining with us, and thank you for sticking with us.
Yeah.
Keep letting us know what things we can do to improve. If you want me to discuss a particular subject or something like that, we can do that, and I can spend the first 15 minutes or something talking about some specific process or procedure or how you could do this. I want to make sure everyone's questions are answered. I want to make sure everybody feels comfortable in how to use Family Tree, how to use memories, how to use searches and stuff. And so please let us know what you need.
Maybe we can do
keep asking your questions.
Open question night as well. Like
we got everybody's questions that submitted them today on live.
Yeah.
So thanks very much. Have a good evening. We'll post when we start doing it again in June, a week or two from now.
I guess enjoy your Memorial Day weekend.
Oh yeah, it's a big weekend this weekend.
Spending time with family and remembering your family.
Yeah.
Guess it's a good weekend to do some genealogy.
Yes, it is.
Since
Matter of fact, we might be
time to crank up those servers.
We might be reminding people about things they could do for Memorial Day.
So enjoy your holiday. We hope it's warm and nice. Like we have really great weather here.
Yeah, it's been the 80s.
Yeah, and you get to enjoy your family for a little bit. And we'll see you again in June.
All right. Have a good night.
See ya.
Bye-bye. All right, where's that button?
Right
there
there.
It is.